So here's the thing. On the UFC website, on the Tapology site, you can see that there is actually quite a big stop after December 13th on when the UFC cards are going to be broadcast and when the UFC cards are going to be airing. And that is because we actually don't know when these cards are going to be, who is fighting on these cards. And the reason why I think that is because I'm going to assume that with the UFC turning into Paramount afterwards, ESPN just doesn't want them to be advertising cards that are going to be taking place on a different broadcaster. So the UFC has not started their promotion for the 2026 cards. And with that, we haven't actually heard fights booked for 2026 yet. So I believe in about a month's time, when the ESPN deal does end on December 13th, or around that period of time, Dana White, Big Marcel on Instagram, are all going to be announcing a lot of fights. There's going to be a lot to talk about, I believe, over the new year, because there has been some rumors that these Paramount cards are going to be quite stacked to start it off, to obviously get on the good graces of Paramount early on. It's a multi-billion-dollar deal to start with. And that's the thing, we just don't really know anything. We know one fight in 2026, and that is Nikita Krylov versus Modestas Bukauskas, which is a fight that was allegedly rumored for a while, because we knew that Modestas Bukauskas had fight news in 2026. We just didn't know that it was going to be against my GOAT, Nikita Krylov. Apparently, Ateva Gautier also has a fight booked that might be on a January 17th card in the UFC Apex, according to Ayla Mayonnaise, a anonymous source on Tapology. And then aside from that, we are aware of other cards as well over January to February. So what we know is that there is going to be a lot of UFC cards taking place over January, February that haven't been announced yet. So pretty much, I think over the course of maybe 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to be getting upwards of maybe 50 fight announcements over a 2 or 3 week period of time. And I think it's going to be quite a busy period of time for UFC news over that new year, which I will be trying my best to cover. Hopefully I'm not too busy around then. On this channel, my second channel, of course, to Artem MMA. And then aside from that, of course, we do have some knowledge of what could potentially be coming up. We have the card in the Apex potentially in January 17th. 324 is in Vegas and is on the 24th. That is actually confirmed by this post here. A Vegas pay-per-view in the T-Mobile Arena. There is an Australian card on in February, but it may not be a pay-per-view. There is going to be a Shanghai card, or maybe a Road to UFC event, and a return to Macau in Q1. So that is in the first 3 months, potentially maybe first 4 months of the year in 2026. We will see that March, April sort of period of time. Another February is going to potentially be more cards taking place in Mexico. I mean, there's going to be one in Mexico City and Noche at the new arena in Guadalajara. And I'm honestly not too sure where this is. I'm going to guess it's in Mexico. So finally, UFC Noche is going to Mexico, which is a upgrade on just them putting on Noche UFC in the United States. And there's also going to be the yearly pay-per-views in Salt Lake City, and also a couple of other Abu Dhabi and stuff like that, and also Madison Square Garden in New York. So that's obviously what's planned for 2026, and maybe the entire 26 is this plan, or maybe it's just the first half of 2026. But what it tells us is there are cards booked, there are fights booked that we don't know about. So keep an eye out for Big Marcel 24 on Instagram. Keep an eye out for Dana White's social, because I'm sure Dana White is going to be doing big announcements. I mean, there is rumors that Ilia Topuria is going to be fighting Gaethje. I think the reason why that hasn't come out yet is just because of that broadcasting deal. I'm going to assume ESPN doesn't want their client, the UFC, advertising something that's going to be broadcast on another broadcasting network and Paramount. So that makes sense to me. I think we just wait for another month, and we're about to start hearing a lot of news regarding fight announcements and stuff like that. So keep an eye out for that.